All right, they're destroying the American dream for younger people, my friends. It's so blindingly obvious. Seen the mortgage rates now? Well, they're hovering around 6% for a 30-year fixed or something like that. So think about it. Regulate the hell out of everything so supply drops like a brick in water. That's what regulations do. It leads to scarcity. Increase the cost of everything so demand drops like a brick in water too. So that's essentially leading to stagflation, high prices and no ability to pay. That's exactly what's happening in the real estate market, is that they're going to price younger people out of the market. There's not enough building going on, so we have a scarcity in terms of supply. The supply is still way down, man. I haven't seen what the May numbers were yet, but going back to April and March and April, we had around 400,000 units in the entirety of the United States for sale. 400,000. That's it. 10, 15 years ago, we had bordering on 2 million. Population's increased by 30 million since then. The number of houses available have declined in the inventory by 75%. What does that do? That causes inflation in prices, man. Demand increases just simply due to demographics. Supply decreases for whatever reason. Huge price increases. Now, affordability now. Who's able to buy a 30-year mortgage on a house that's freaking priced so high because the interest rates are at 6%? I mean, again, back, you're roughly a 2 to 3% mortgage for every 100,000 you borrowed is roughly $500 a month, maybe 600. I can't remember off the top of my head. We'll just say $500 a month. Increase that by double the interest rate. Every 100,000 you borrow is now, we'll say, $1,000 a month. So a $300,000 home that you used to buy would cost you $1,500 a month before, now it costs you $3,000 a month. And I hear you saying, oh yeah, but the seller will have to drop the price. Will he? Why does he have to? There's only 399,000 other units available. You don't have to drop the price until the demand goes up. Until the supply goes up. Supply going up by 10% doesn't mean crap. It goes from 400 to 440. That's it. It's like whoever they is, I don't know. But just the powers that be, man. They could not have devised a greater scheme to ruin the American dream for younger people. Let's pretend as if college is the get-all, end-all, and everyone's going to get rich in college, as many a college professor and many an education advocate has stated, which is freaking nuts. It's reverse Robin Hood. Let's impoverish these people so we can pay diversity counselors at Ohio State University $330,000 with a pension, full benefits, the whole friggin' thing. Well, they got University of Michigan has like 26 diversity counselors. I'm sure they're all making well above 100,000. And you got Joe Schmo from freaking Flint, who doesn't have clean water. He's going to pay that by student loans. Freaking nuts, man. So he can't write that student loan off once he declares bankruptcy, because how dare you write off a government debt? It's freaking disgusting. So now we're going to load up these people with student loan debts. Then we're going to say, hey, just live in a government-sanctioned Section 8 house. Live closer to town in our little projects that we have. Be it it's like we're reading. Have you ever read like the projects, how they came to be in Chicago and these other places? Never mind the commie places. It's freaking disgusting. It's urban planners. The most evil people there are. Well, we think a project should have a little bit of green space. Does anyone use it, their urban guy? No, but still, it looks good to us, so we can go back to our suburban place and say, hey, it's crazy. It's like the Democratic Party, the home of the Klan. You could not have destroyed the black community outside of wearing white hoods explicitly than you have done. they could not have done that better, and they've done it. Doesn't mean all blacks are poor. Doesn't mean all blacks are not raised by two families, two parents. The majority are. Doesn't mean all whites are rich and all whites are doing well either. No, we know for a fact. I mean, just because demographics, whites are significantly higher on the welfare rolls than blacks, just because there's so many more whites. Relative to proportion of population size, so it's not. Like Dan Patrick Moynihan said, a Democrat from New York. He said it. The blacks will be 33% of the population back then when they passed all these stupid welfare things and public housing, all that, was single parent households. Whites are like 10. Now blacks are like 75, 70%, something like that. Whites are 35, something like that. Now, there is benefits here simply because people aren't having sex, not having abortions. I mean, it's just, porn and electronic gaming has taken away a lot of this. So there's less and less babies being born to single teenagers, which is a good thing. I don't like abortion. I'd go after the people who actually abort the child, which would be the doctors, if I was God, which I will never be. But if I could pass a magic wand, I say, we find you giving an abortion, we're going to prosecute you for murder. Just that simple. Especially in the latter parts of the pregnancy. I read someplace in California, in the Catholic Conference of California or something like that, is now taking away their opposition to a California bill that allows somebody essentially to abort their kid after childbirth, because they say, well, they removed that provision from the law, so we no longer are against this law because they no longer allow somebody to abort their kid after childbirth. Right, but they can still abort them up to the 9-month. Yeah, but we don't want to be controversial. I mean, we're Catholic and stuff. It's freaking insane. They can all kiss my big fat behind. And hopefully after this walk, it won't be quite as big and fat, because it's hot out here, my friends. Woo! Got a heat wave. Anyway, so now you got a bunch of kids coming up. Demand is going to spike because of demographic shift. Went from the baby boom to baby bust to these guys. They're not making that much money. They have a huge demand to live in a home, saddled with freaking student loan debt. Interest rates now 6% for a 30-year mortgage. The supply of the house is minimal at best. What else could you possibly have done to ruin the American dream? And by the way, the reason home ownership is so important, pride of ownership. Even Larry Summers said, no one ever washed a rental car. Pride of ownership. Are there some tenants who take pride in their living space even though they don't own it? Of course. Who takes more care of their property? Someone who worked hard for it with their sweat and equity, or someone who was given it to it by Big Daddy Sugar government? You know, I know, we all know this. Who works harder in college? Someone who suffered 4 years in 11 Bravo, for my GI Bill and Army College Fund, or someone whose parents paid the whole thing? You want to take a guess? You know the answer to that. Ownership. You're taking away ownership. And what does that do? It means the government has more and more control, because you're saying, look, I don't own anything anyway. Just tell me what you want me to do. You want 20 jabs? I'll take 20 jabs. Just give me my monthly check, my monthly freaking ration card, my monthly ounce of chocolate. All right. We'll see ya. Let me keep doing this, burning off some of my big old butt. I got a big old butt. Oh yeah, doing the butt. Sexy, sexy. Doing the butt. We'll see you.